What's up, guys? My streamer just crashed, but I think we're good now. My apologies for that. Should be back on live. Let's give everyone a second to transfer over. Hey, Mitra, what's up, man? So I'll give everyone a few more minutes to get back in. It's weird. I was like, why is my internet so fast? Alright, so if you guys saw the beginning part of this session, we picked a winner for our free month, and it was Janny. Left a pretty nice comment. And so Janny, you would have to just message support at forexlens.com or Allison on forexlens.com, and they will add on an extra month to your service. As I was saying earlier, and let me let the guys know, let me send this link through to everyone so they can get in. But I was saying, we were talking about an article where basically YouTube has penalized YouTubers for saying a certain word, and that word is a very key component of why the markets are where they are right now.
Hello, Forex Lens subscribers and members. This is John. I have not actually recorded a video yet.
Let me send this through so we can join back up. Alright, cool. So what I was saying earlier is that YouTube basically said that we can't say this word, and so from now on I'm going to refer to this event as a Black Swan event through our sessions from here on out, and that's just going to be the way it is. It's out of our control, so I'm going to be doing that. Another thing I wanted to talk about before we start getting into the analysis is our partner program. It's actually a referral program. If you joined our Discord, which you haven't already, the sign up sheet is in the description of the video. But basically, for paid members, if you're already a member, if you bring in a max of 10 friends into our Discord, they get a free 14-day trial. For free members, you can bring a minimum of 3 friends into Discord, and they all receive a 14-day trial. After that, if the 3 people join our service with your referral, you will be eligible for a free membership or recurring commissions for the lifetime of the membership. So as long as they stay, you'll be benefiting from them coming in. So if you have any 3 trader friends that are on that are on Telegram, and you want them to come try out Discord, now's a great chance to get a free month or even get some commissions. And that's the best way to kind of bring in a second income for free, right? Just getting people to join. And all they have to do is sign up using the sign up sheet in the description below, and you can message one of the admins about who you referred in, and we'll make sure we keep track of who brought in who. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is the markets, they are looking a bit chaotic right now, and that's because of the Black Swan event. There's no other explanation for it, and they even paused trading for 15 minutes earlier in the morning because it was just too much. Markets are down like by significant margins, 7%, 9%, for various stock markets all around the world. We know oil dropped considerably, I think over like 10% over the weekend, and so we'll talk about that. But the main thing you have to realize is during these times of events, you want to trade with the trend. Don't be a hero. So if you see certain things gapped a certain way, it's more likely that that gap won't be filled until maybe later in the year. So first off, we have euro. This was a setup given on Thursday, and on Friday we got our first intraday level taken right here, and you can see at the end of Friday's closure we had a mini sell-off, and then over the weekend this thing just gapped up right to the precise moment of our next key level at 1.14930. And so since then, it's kind of been consolidating as the markets kind of pieced together what just happened over the weekend. But pretty cool to see that even after our analysis was done, that it did go to our second take profit and then to our next weekly level up here. So in terms of imminent setups, I try to look for some, but since there's so many gaps and the price action is a bit skewed right now, it's kind of hard to get any live entries. I am sticking with gold long to 1800 and higher. I'm also thinking of possibly having GJ maybe retrace a bit before it heads lower. So we'll talk about that. But Euro USD for now, if you look back on the monthly time frame, the significant resistance it's running into right now is at 1.14980, and if it does break above, so basically above 1.1500, then we can start looking at longs to maybe back to these highs here. So we'll see what happens over the course of the next few days, and what the global markets do, and the market makers, more importantly the financial banks of the world, the ECBs, the Fed. What do they do to combat the coronavirus? They already cut rates last week, but that has not had an effect, as you can see with this monthly candle. So what I'll be looking for is maybe a break of 1.1500 to take a long back to 1.1800. So a lot of swing trades will be on the markets for us, and that's just the way it is. It's gonna filter out a lot of noise if we take this approach. So I'm just gonna send an alert for now. There's no real setup, so I'm not really sending in any chart work. If there is, I'll definitely let you guys know. And for members that are watching on YouTube, if you have any pair recommendations and questions, send them in now, and when I get a chance at the end of the session, I'll answer them. I have not forgot about the people on the portal, so let me just say good morning to them as well. So we're just going to take a look at the majors, because basically from last week, the only setup that I'm holding is pound yen, and I got out of it yesterday, so we haven't carried over any setups. So we're basically taking a fresh look at the markets, figuring out what we're going to get into. And pound dollar, I mean, this monthly candle is pretty dang bullish, but I kind of think it's a facade. This thing needs to clear this previous monthly candle. As long as it stays below, it's well within the price action of continuing to look for a short. But you can see on Friday, and I think this was on Friday's idea, we did give a potential, we gave a lesson, not an idea, but the idea was how do you trade trendline shifts or breaks. And I used this as an example because we were close to making a break. And you guys can see we had a break above. We had a candle come back down as a retest. And this thing did go pretty high if you look at it. But the pound has turned into a long bias. If you look at the price action, you can see we clearly broke this long-term downtrend. And it's not a bad time to go long. I mean, the entry, let's see, it's not bad actually. It could be better. Ideally, if you got in on Sunday's open, that would have been the best case scenario. But if you look at this and we extend our resistance region over, it's not bad, right? A 2.46 R to R to go long, it's not bad. What I'd wait for is the daily closure, because if you look at the daily, right now it doesn't look too bearish. I mean, it doesn't look too bullish. This is a fairly bearish daily closure. So if this thing could maybe pop up, the body of the candle can come up here, then I'd be confident in going long, and we can take this setup. But the pound, like most pairs, are struggling, especially post Brexit. So if you look at daily effects, one of my favorite tools to kind of gauge the financial markets, you can see it's all negative. You can see this, U.S. recession ahead, and then Black Swan, and you see the British pound, GBP rallies, FTSE 100 collapses, UK markets, webinar. You can see a lot of these things where it's like, against yen, safe havens. Then you have Saudi Arabia and their war. There's so much negative stuff affecting the markets that there's only a few pairs that will thrive, and a lot of the majors will thrive as the dollar is a safe haven, and so anytime something chaotic happens, safe havens are gonna take over. But the dollar isn't seen as a pristine safe haven like the yen and the Swiss franc or gold for that matter. So we'll wait for the daily closure on the pound to kind of figure out where we're going to be headed with this. But it's definitely a potential setup as we have broken a major weekly trend line. Another thing is gold, and so gold gapped up to 1700, as you can see here, guys. And let me actually pull up last week's gold charts. This one looks a bit terrible. It looks pretty bad because the candle should not be there. So just stick with Forex.com. So yeah, you can see it went as high as 1700 on the weekend, and you guys know my long-term target for gold is 1800. And we'll put that along here. Right. So we are around 130 pips away. And to get that far, we would need probably the black swan to get worse. I almost said the word, but we probably would need the black swan to get worse. But it does look like a good buy opportunity. I actually entered another position, and it could even go further than 1800. I have my stops at 1643. Just to show you on the chart where that is. That is right around here. Okay, right where my mouse is. So if it does come here, I would be wary. But I don't think it will. If it does, I can always adjust my stops. This is just a long-term hold and wait trade where I'm pretty sure we'll get there. It's just a matter of when, and the risk management's pretty good on it that I can even hold it past my stop loss. But that's the idea. I would not take anything right now for gold. You know, the price action's pretty complicated. That huge gap up above has kind of confused things. Because if it didn't do that, and it gapped down, we would have a nice short because we have a solid resistance from last week. But since we popped back above, I'm not too sure if we broke it or if it was just fundamentals. But we'll have more idea later in the day when Trump does a speech about the Black Swan event. I almost said it again. And we'll figure out what goes on. But we're pretty close from 1800. We're pretty much a stone's throw away. And you know, we've come a long way. I think, you know, in 1550 when we first started, when we made those bold predictions, let's actually figure out where we were. We made a bold prediction video somewhere here. It's right before the new year, at 1515, and since then we've climbed significantly, almost all the way up to 1700. So we have been pretty spot on about our prediction. We just have that last leg to go, and hopefully we get there. So let's look at the YouTube chat, see if any of you guys have any potential setups. Someone did ask for Euro Pound in the Discord, so I'll get to that. Hey Philip, whatever trade you need confirmation on, just let me know. Hey Renko. Yep, YouTubers are getting dinged for saying that word. It's weird. I mean, it's just reality. It's not a fairy tale world we live in. Stuff like that happens. So yeah, I'm looking at Euro Pound because someone did ask on the portal, or actually in the Discord, and we'll take a look. So Euro Pound. So right now we know the pound dollar is going to be going on a mini bull run. So Euro Pound intuitively should go lower. Let's see. Yeah, I think the person, Janny, was it Janny? Someone asked. Swing trades. Hard to find that setup, but I think that was a long setup, and I do see the vision. So basically the long setup would happen if we get a bullish closure above this blue zone. It's been a pretty solid support in the past. You can see multiple rallies from the zone, multiple rallies of varying heights. Sometimes we go all the way to resistance. Other times we go 50%. Sometimes we go 70% of the way. What matters is we are getting some reaction from this level, right? And so we're currently rejecting that level. So it's actually a potential short here. You know, actually last week there was a decent short opportunity from this level, and it did fall quite some bit. So this candle at one point was all the way up here, but since then it's been pushed down. So the 4 hour, you can see that this is this gross price action. This is clean price action. You see a nice triple top and then a sell off. But since Sunday's open, it's just been a bunch of candles bunched together. There's no separation between the candles. I would not trade such price action because it's just not an accurate way to trade. You know, when you don't know what you're reading, and this is just a bunch of candles shoved together. What I'd wait for longs, what you had a long idea, is a bullish closure above this blue zone, and maybe take a long after that. R2R would be significant as you're trading around a critical level. Something like this, 3.11, just fantastic. And this thing will go like that. So we'll see what happens with this scenario. I don't think we'll know anything by the end of the day. I think this thing will figure its way out until London session, because this is the European currency. I think during the London session we'll start to figure out which way we're headed. But I do see that long idea that you shared on Discord, and the monthly does look like we're gonna rally up. So Johnny, if you're a free member, you can join our Discord. Just use the sign up link in the video below. It's in this exact live session in the description. Someone said pound yen. I'll get pound yen. But don't be eager to jump into a trade, guys. This is definitely not the week to do it. Pound yen. So this thing was the mega swing trade I was holding for 2 weeks through some major drawdown, and actually got out yesterday in some pretty good profit over the span of 2 weeks. And it's a solid idea, and I got out right after the big move last night because I knew there was some retracement. If you look at the 4 hour, you can see that retracement was due. So you can see this was the initial push, and then we had a retracement all the way back up. I'm still bearish on it. I do think we'll go all the way down here, but I don't want to be holding this thing through all that drawdown, especially since if you get in here, your stop loss has to take into account for its previous resistance, and that way if I push this down, so let's say if you enter here again, your R2R is cut significantly, almost in half. It's a 1.56. It's not worth it. I was kind of getting tired of holding the trade, but this thing ended up dropping, and if we see since its inception, 137, it went as low as 132.644, so close to over 400 pips. And this signal was called in Discord and Telegram. So if we look, it's been quite some time, so you can see, so pound yen, our swing target was smashed, and almost this is actually over 400 pips gained on this swing trade. So I'm done with this trade, but I do expect further downside. Just the entry right now is a bit suspect. Let me see if there's something on the Swan time frame. Maybe if we get a break below on the 4 hour. Actually, that's not bad. So we have created some support here. I would maybe look for a short if we get a 4 hour bearish closure below this line, right at 133.031. Then the short would make sense, because your R2R would only be this much, 2.6. Your stop loss could be above the support. So in case we get a bearish closure here, and for some reason, instead of going down, price pushes back up above the support, it's more likely than not it's going to start a rally, and we would get out really quickly and quit the bleeding very early. So This is a potential setup. I'll put an alert in case we do get down here. But I don't think we'll know anything until London session for the pound yen. But trading with the trend, I think we may have another entry. And the payoff is significant, almost 600 pips. So that's one setup. I'll save this and I'll send this through to the people in Discord and Telegram, all the members. If you're interested in becoming a member, last week we made 502 pips at the minimum. That's a pretty conservative number. But if you're interested in joining these live sessions from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you know, if you're tired of joining only the free ones and you want to join the the paid sessions and want to get access to all our signals, at the end of the session I'll be giving away a 50% coupon code for your first month. So stay tuned. So that's pound yen. I'm still bearish. USD CHF. That's also a pair that gapped down very heavily over the weekend. And some brokers won't show it, but this is the gap, and this thing has melted considerably since the Black Swan event occurred. So let me just go to the higher time frame to get an idea. So monthly, you can see in the beginning we had a very nice resistance zone here, very nice support zone, and this thing just smashed through it. You can see right here. Looking to the left, possible areas where this thing could find some support is where it's at right now. If I just get this horizontal ray, you can see we've had previous rallies from this level, and so currently if you zoom in, you can see the candle is getting squeezed back above this line. You can see at one point the candle was somewhere down here. Since then it's been squeezed back above. So I'll be cautious about here, but I'll also be cautious about taking a buy. I'd wait for maybe something like a bullish hammer on the weekly time frame, like this candle, to signify a buy, because when we did have that, we had a rally. Another bullish hammer, we had a rally. So I'd wait for that before I take any trade in terms of going long. For short, just look for the next support down here. That'd probably be at this previous swing low at 0.87318. And what I'll be looking for here is a daily closure outside of this support. So we go to the daily time frame. You can see the current candle we're talking about. Oops. Oh, Jesus. So this candle, if it can close bearish below this level, I would be fine taking that short all the way down here. If we just look to the left, I think the weekly time frame might be a bit better. It will be. So if you look on the weekly time frame, we can decide where our stop loss will be. So looking to the left, you can see the last time we had a rally from this level, we did have a miniature resistance created right where my mouse is. So what we'll do is we'll get a horizontal ray and put that there. So now we have a stop loss. So in case we get a bearish closure down here, we know where to put our stop loss to go short. And this is a 2.28 R to R setup, which is not bad, especially for a USD CHF. So this is the idea. Obviously, the weekly closure will tell the tale, and I think we should wait for maybe the daily. If you want to get a rush entry, wait for the daily. If you want to get the best entry, wait for the weekly. So maybe next week we can look into this. Because you can see in the past, this weekly candle was all the way down here. It got squeezed back up, and then we had a significant rally. So it's a similar case right now where the candle is getting squeezed back up. God forbid if buyers come in, then this thing will continue going back up. So we'll have two setups, the long or the short. Obviously, we're trading with the trend, so the short is the most likely one, in my opinion. So on the daily, maybe wait for a bearish closure below 0.91846, and you can go ahead and enter short, and that's the stop loss. And the take profit could be every 30-40 to pips. It is USD CHF, so it doesn't move too much per pip. But looking to the left, the levels to take profit is very simple. Previous support, a lot of wicks in this level right here. The next support would probably be down here. A lot of wicks, rallies from here, and then boom, now you have your trade set up. Takes 5 minutes, 0 indicators, and there you go. So I'll send this in too, but I would be cautious. Ideally, you would wait for the weekly time frame. If I do enter this trade, I will let you guys know as always. Aussie CHF, and then I'll answer Darren's question. I do think gold will make a retrace before it goes higher, but I know it's going to go higher. I'm just prepared to hold on to that. We spoke about gold, but analysis hasn't changed. Odd CHF, Lord Almighty, damn! I haven't seen a wick like this since the Swiss franc crash, way back. I mean, this wick, oh wow, oh mama, this is crazy. So let me try to see if I have a chart. I believe I do have a chart from 2020 that we analyzed. And I don't think it's this one. It is that one. Okay, cool. That's how much it sold off. I'm gonna have to go all the way to monthly to make sense of this thing. So we have shorted odd CHF in the past. All these are take profit levels, so I'm gonna remove this. But my goodness, what are you gonna do when the markets are behaving this way? Like, thankfully, we've been on the benefiting side. U.S. oil and gold pretty much made our month last week. So, the monthly, what can I tell you about this odd CHF? I mean, what is there to tell? Let's see. Let's go back all the way to price action. So, since 2001, FXCM, you know, it opened at right around here, you know, 0.83447. If we look to the left, this is historic lows for odd CHF. It's never been this low. And you guys know it's a common theme now. The Aussie is the most affected by, other than China, it's the most affected by the Black Swan event. We know the Swiss franc is a safe haven. So when you have one currency getting impacted significantly by the fundamentals negatively, and you have one currency being impacted by the fundamentals positively, you're going to see a major drop like this. I wouldn't call it sit up just because, like, you can't really make of this price action or anything, really. It's just, I don't know. I mean, who's to say it doesn't rebound from here? Who's to say it doesn't keep going lower? As far as this broker is concerned, we don't have any information past 2001, so that's ridiculous. Let's see the 4-hour closure. Let's see what we're dealing with. Yuck. No comment. I have no comment about this. I don't want to give poor information, but there's so many pairs that are better to trade. I would rather even trade an exotic than this. This is just yuck. I don't even want to look at this, but I can't even give a professional opinion on this. There's nothing for me to base it off of, but I guess whoever put 2 and 2 together about Aussie struggling and Swiss haven dominating, then they probably made a nice change, nice return on this. But I don't know, Serge. I'd rather you stay away from this. Pound Aussie, yeah. So Pound Aussie probably, I didn't even look at it, but Pound Aussie probably wicked to the sky, went to the moon like a rocket ship, I bet you. And of course it did, because the Australian dollar's so impacted by this event. Oh, look, that's, you know how many pips that is, guys? That is a lot of pips. Wow. We gotta get a closer look at this. I mean, my goodness. That is 1100 pip move over the weekend. 1100 pip move. For whoever was long, and we were long momentarily last week, this thing just shot up. And the Australian dollar is weak. So if you're holding on to any Aussie dollars, I don't know, you're going to have to get rid of that. And you can see our long idea from last week, if you guys remember, right? Let me remove this. Here's that long idea we took. So we did get a part of this. We got out Friday, and then obviously over the weekend, this thing just shot up to the moon. I mean, look at this thing. That's crazy. So I'm not giving any setup for this. It's so heavily influenced by the fundamentals that it's hard to give an opinion in terms of technicals. But what I would say is, you know, sometimes the fundamentals are pretty cut and dry, right? You know, Australia's biggest trade partner is China. They have the second most, cases and debts, right? So if you put that together, and you know the pound is volatile, you're gonna get moves like this. But happy we got this long. Who knows, if we had a swing target somewhere up here, we would have made a big chunk. But I wouldn't trade these. Anything that has this type of price action, I'd skip. I think you would rather be better off trading things like the CHF pairs or even the yens. But this, I'd leave it to the risk-seeking people. And pound NSD, also NSD and the Aussie are heavily correlated. Let's take a look at that. it's probably the same size or even more, but yeah, it's just yeah, we're in a once in a lifetime situation. Unless another world war happens, this is pretty crazy. So yeah, in the bright side, Bitcoin. I gave this Bitcoin idea a few weeks ago, and this took its sweet old time, but Bitcoin is having a nice sell-off. Look at this. If you look at the daily, phenomenal. If you look at the weekly, tell me that does not scream bear. Right now it's at 7,700, and we call the idea here. Very nice little drawdown entry, and just on its sweet old way back down to 6,500 and hopefully 6,000. So that looks good. So any other prayer recommendations, let me know. Do gaps always get filled? No, they do not. I hate that misconception that it always gets filled. There's a study. There's actually an article out there if you do your research. You can even Google Forex trading gap study, and they looked at, I think, like 10 years or 20. No, I think 30 years worth of data, 30 years worth of charts. They identified the gaps, and they found like 40% of the time the gaps get filled, but it took an average of, I think, 3 months or a very long time to fill. So gaps may get filled, 50% of the time, but it won't happen right away. So the amount of drawdown and swaps and commission you will have to hold through to get that gap fill would probably eat away almost all your profits and even blow your account. So don't trade gaps. I think that's just the worst trading strategy you can even do. It's not always the case, especially when big events like this happen. It's better to trade based on other things than gaps. I'd rather trade on indicators, and I don't even like that, but gaps do not always get filled. Jonathan D, when you look for a closure past support and resistance line, when do you wait for it to be retested before entering a trade? That's a really good question. So let me just show an example. Let's pick a random pair. A lot of pairs have disgusting price action. Because it's not bad. We'll use NSD, USD. So let's look at past price action. So here's a good idea. So let's say we're currently here, okay? We are on the 4-hour time frame. So let's say we're here, right? And okay, let's actually here. So let's say you see up until this candle, okay? And you can see we had a significant sell-off in the past. You're looking to trade with the trend. We have our 4-hour support here, and RP Forex says, hey guys, wait for a 4-hour bearish closure below this to enter. And your stop loss is usually in between, the next resistance, which is here. So your stop loss will probably be somewhere here. So let me just get a horizontal ray. Then let's see, over the next few candles, you get that closure, you get this closure. Okay, cool. So you have a pretty decent bearish closure. It's not a telltale bearish candle if you can zoom in. It's kind of like an indecision candle because the top and bottom wick are equal. But the next candle is an inverted hammer, so that tells you it's bearish. So you'd enter short, and you'd see what happened. Boom, you get stopped out, and this thing falls, right? And so what happens is when you don't have a significant bearish closure on that first candle, and so this first candle right here, so you can see this candle here, it was not like this candle where the body is big and the wick to the bottom is very little and the wick to the top is very little. So a candle like, let me show you, And we did an infographic. If you go out on our Instagram, there's a specific picture telling you about bearish closures. But when you want that first candle closure to be bearish. Something like this would have been a great. So after this candle was printed, you can see we had 1, 2, 3 inverted hammers. And when you have a lot of hammers like this, there's two ways you can read it. One, buyers were up here, sellers pushed down, or sellers were down here, buyers pushed up here, right? So after you see these 3 hammers, it's probably a good idea to get out. But then again, when you're on the 4-hour time frame, this was around a 30 pip move for NSD USD, and you would have secured profits. But here, I'll actually just show you guys our Instagram. And I'll show you the infographic. I believe I've shared this before. The March promo, I'll explain that one more time. I don't want to dig too deep, but hopefully it's somewhere here. Where did it go? I might just send this on Discord after the session. But if you look on Instagram hard enough, you'll see the most bearish and bullish closures. The referral program, it's very simple. Let me go over it once more. Basically, if you're a free member, if you bring in a minimum of 3 friends into Discord, they all get a 14-day trial of access to all our Discord, right? And if those 3 people join our service from our referral, then you will get a free membership for as long as they stay, or recurring commissions, right? And the same thing for premium members. And if you want to know about the commissions, if you go to the partner program, it'll explain it here. Earn recurring commissions, receive a recurring 25% commission per direct referral, plus 10% tier 2 commission per indirect referral for the lifetime of the membership, or receive a one-time 50% commission per direct referral, no tier 2 commissions. It's all explained here. If you still need help, make sure you chat with the chat room admin. They'll explain it in detail. So yeah, guys, I wish I had, I was able to give subs for today's session. I mean, we do have 2. One of them is pound yen continuation, and the other one is USD CHF continuation. No real entries right now. The markets are just getting, its feet back up, and it's only been 3 hours since the markets opened up here. So give it time. We had the same approach last week, and it paid off, whole handsomely. So we'll do that. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment on the video. We'll be picking another video winner on Friday. And for those that are interested in joining our trade room, getting all these sessions, because tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'll be spending time with the paid members, giving them setups that we'll discuss on Friday. So if you're looking to join, I'll be giving away a 50% off coupon code. It is first 50. First 50. And that is the number 0, first 50. All you have to do is go to forexlens.com. And then when you get here on our site, you're going to go to Forex Trading Room, and you're going to click Get Started, and it's going to take you to get full access right here. You fill out this form. It takes a few minutes, maybe 1 at max, and then when you click Next, it'll give you an option to add a promo code, and then go ahead and enter this code to get 50% off your first month. So for all my live sessions and all of the signal providers, you only have to pay $48.50 for your first month. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to end this session. I'll be with the paid members tomorrow through Thursday, getting in on these entries and making the pips. And I'll see you guys on Friday to discuss how the week went. But we've been on a roll for the past 2 weeks, over 500 pips made on around 85% accuracy. So let's keep this going, guys. Peace, and please be safe out there. It is getting wild.